Yo, what is going on, NFL fans? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason, and in today's episode, we're going to go through all the week one games with the spreads, and I'm going to give you my predictions for each and every single week one NFL game. All right, we're going to start off with the Baltimore Ravens traveling to Kansas City, right? So, the Chiefs are given 3 points, the Ravens are getting three. I like the Ravens in this spot with the 3 points. I don't know if they win this game. The line went from 2.5 to 3, and now that it's at 3, I like the Baltimore Ravens in this spot. With Derrick Henry added to that offense, I just don't know where the Kansas City Chiefs offense is going to be this year. They're still going to struggle at the wide receiver position. Is Rashee Rice going to actually play in this game? We'll have to see. And then we move on to the Green Bay Packers at the Philadelphia Eagles. They're not really playing in Philadelphia. They're actually playing in Brazil. I love the Eagles. If you follow my channel, I'm a diehard Eagles fan, but I just can't trust the Eagles after that horrible second half of the year last year. Jordan Love looked very consistent. That young core is growing together, and I like taking the Green Bay Packers and 1.5 points, right? If it's close, you still have a chance. If the Eagles win by 1, you can still cover that 1.5 point spread. Then we move on to the Houston Texans, one of my favorite teams in the AFC this year, against a really good Indianapolis Colts team. They're playing in Indy in the Dome, but I think CJ Stroud and the Houston Texans cover this spread. 1.5 points is not a lot to give up. I think they're just a better overall team. Anthony Richardson's coming off that injury, so I want to see him prove himself before I lay any juice on the Colts. I'm going with the Houston Texans to cover those 1.5 points. Then we move on to the Jacksonville Jaguars traveling to Miami to play the Dolphins, right? The Dolphins are giving 3.5 points. I just don't know if the Jaguars can keep up with that high-flying Miami Dolphins offense, right? The Dolphins gave up a lot in free agency. They lost some offensive line and a lot of defensive help this year, but I just think that offense is going to be too much firepower for the Jaguars to compete with this early on in the season. The Miami Dolphins defense is dealing with a lot of injuries that happened late in the year last year. So we'll see how that shakes out. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I look for the Dolphins to cover the 3.5 points. Then Arizona traveling to the Buffalo Bills. So of all the starters last year, only 60% of the starters that are coming back in 2024 played snaps in 2023. There's a lot of moving parts in Buffalo. The Arizona Cardinals aren't that good, but I think this is the best time to play the Buffalo Bills early in the season. I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to lose this game, but I think they cover the 7 points, right? I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a great audition. The Cardinals are really good at the tight end position, and look for Kyler Murray to put up some points against this Buffalo Bills defense that's kind of a shell of itself going into 2024. Then the Patriots at Cincinnati. I just don't know if Cincinnati's going to be able to cover those 9 points. I think this is going to be a low-scoring game. The Patriots have a pretty solid defense. That offense isn't probably going to score a lot of points. I think this is going to be a slow game. I'm looking like under 35 points total. Let's see what the total. They have at 43. I think it's going to be under the 43 points, and I think the Patriots cover the 9 points. Joe Burrow's coming off that injury. I think the Patriots can cover those 9 points. Then we have a really interesting game between the Vikings traveling to New York to play the Giants, right? Daniel Jones is coming off that injury, but their defense is pretty decent in New York, actually. And going against a rookie quarterback, it's a tall order to ask J.J. McCarthy to go on the road and win his rookie debut in the NFL. I like the Giants to cover that 1 point spread. Then we have Carolina at the New Orleans Saints. The Carolina Panthers drafted like 47 guys this year. A lot of young players. That's why I look for New Orleans to cover the 5 point spread, especially in the Dome with that loud, crazy noise. I just don't think Carolina and all those young players, they're not going to be used to playing in those domes, man. It's really hard to communicate with your teammates. That's why the Saints cover that spread. Then we move on to the Titans versus the Chicago Bears, right? It's a whole new regime for the Tennessee Titans. I like Will Levis. Caleb Williams will be the quarterback for the Chicago Bears. But the new defensive coordinator for the Titans loves to blitz, right? And I just don't know if Caleb Williams and all these new moving parts for the Bears offense are going to be able to cover that spread. The Bears might win a tight one, maybe by a field goal, 2 points, something right like that. That's why I look for this Tennessee Titans new head coach Callahan coming in with his dad, the offensive line coach. I think this team's going to be very coached up for this game. That's why I like the Titans to cover the 4.5 points. And then we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Atlanta Falcons, right? The Steelers are getting 2.5 points. Kirk Cousins coming off that injury. New team, new receivers. Pittsburgh Steelers defense is very, very good. They're going to look to run the ball, control the clock there. I like the Steelers getting 2.5 points in this game. Then we have the Broncos versus the Seahawks. It's always tough to play in Seattle, but I just think the Denver Broncos are going to be a little bit better than people think. And the Seattle Seahawks, like all new coaching staff, I don't know who this Seahawks team is going to be. I don't know the identity of this team. Geno Smith, I'm not a big believer in him. They have really, really good receivers. Maybe the best 3 wide receiver trio in the NFL. But the Broncos defense is not too bad. I think they can cover the 4.5 points. I think it's going to be a close game. Maybe a late second field goal seals the game for either team. But 4.5 points, this isn't one of my favorite games to bet on. I would like to see this maybe go to 5, 5.5, and then the Denver Broncos would be more in play for me. Maybe a teaser potential. If you can tease that up to like 10 points, I like that better for the Broncos. Then we have the Raiders at the Chargers. This is going to be a low-scoring game too, 43.5. I think the under is a good bet there if you're looking to bet on this game. The Raiders defense is really, really good. And the Chargers, they don't really have a running back. They're going to want to run the ball a lot with Harbaugh being the new head coach there. I like the under 43. I think that's the best bet. But I think the Raiders can cover this spread, guys. I really do. Justin Herbert will be lucky to throw the ball 24, 25 times in this game. And they're going to want to run the ball, establish the run. But the Raiders' defense, I think, can compete against the Chargers' offensive line. I like the Raiders to cover this spread. Then the Commanders at Tampa Bay. Todd Bowles in that defense, they love to blitz. I think it's going to be a long day for Jaden Daniels. I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to cover the 3.5 points. Then Dallas with a shambled offensive line against one of the best defenses in the entire NFL with the Cleveland Browns. They lost their offensive line coach, which is a little concerning for me, but they dealt with so many injuries last year, still were able to make the playoffs, still have one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think Cleveland easily covers that 1 point. Then we have my favorite game of the week, the Rams traveling to Detroit to play the Lions. I think the Lions cover the 3.5 points. They're playing in the Dome there in Detroit. Matt Stafford isn't the best quarterback on the road. I love for the Lions, who are my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year to cover the 3.5 points. And then the last game of Week 1 on Monday Night Football, the Jets traveling to San Francisco, right? The Jets have a really good defense. I think they're going to give a lot of problems to Brock Purdy, right? Is Brandon Ayuk going to suit up? Is Deebo Samuel? Are they going to have all the guys? I don't know, man. Is Brandon Ayuk going to even be on the 49ers? Is he going to get traded? Is he going to sign a new deal? We'll have to see what happens. But I think this is going to be a close game. Probably a under 4. I like the under, and I like a lot of the unders in Week 1, especially with this really good defense the New York Jets has. They're going to give some problems to Brock Purdy. I like the Jets to cover the 5.5 points, guys. All right, let me know in the comments below. Do you like my picks against the spread? The spread picks aren't necessarily who I think is going to win these games, but who can potentially cover the spread. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys. If you like these type of videos, don't forget to like and subscribe. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers. It's all because of you guys tuning in. Thanks again. Peace.